Hello, everyone. Today we are going to go through 7.4. It's a two-day section. So we're going to go through kind of the most basic part today, kind of the intro stuff, and then we're going to get into some actual factoring tomorrow. Just keep in mind, Friday we know is going to be a day off, so you can't come in for homework help or anything. Monday's a day off, and then Tuesday of next week, so I think that's the 6th, is going to be another Schoology day, but you can come in that day. You can come in for homework help, intervention day, stuff like that. Okay, so just keep in mind we have kind of a goofy schedule coming up and then another kind of short week next week. So I would just make sure you get this assignment done. Don't leave it till next week. Have a nice long weekend. I'll still give you Friday to get everything turned in. Even though technically it's not a school day, just so you have that day to get everything in, but still get everything in on Friday to avoid that late penalty. All right. So we have a couple new vocab terms for 7.4. We're kind of getting into a little bit of new content here. First off, let's just go. Oh boy.
Student, Eli Newman, please report to the student office. Eli Newman, please report to the student office.
All right, that's what I get for recording these at school. Okay, so first off, we get factored form. All right, factored form, it really just means a polynomial that is written as a product of factors. And sometimes this textbook speak is kind of hard to understand. It means a polynomial that's written like this. Okay, that's written like, two binomials that are being multiplied instead of like x squared. What would this one be? B plus 2x minus 3. Okay, so this is not factored form. This is factored form. Okay, so when it's two things being multiplied together, that's a polynomial in factored form. Right? Zero product property says if the product of two real numbers is 0, then at least one of the numbers is 0, which is kind of a, again, textbook speak way to say if I've got two things multiplied by each other, I don't know what they are, it's x and y. If they're equal to 0, I know, well, either x is 0 or y is 0, right? If I have two things multiplied together and they end up with 0, well, one of them's got to be 0. Maybe both of them are 0, but one or the other of them is 0, right? So keep that in mind because that's kind of a trick to this whole section today. A root is what we call the solution of a polynomial equation. You'll get way into roots in Algebra 2 and pre-calc, and we'll get a little bit into them this chapter as well. Okay, so if it asks for the roots or the solutions, it's really the same thing. It's what you're going to answer. Okay, you're going to say x is equal to 3 or x is equal to 12. A lot of these are going to have multiple answers. You could have 2, 3, 4 answers for a lot of these questions, right? And then repeated roots, it just means that some of the roots are the same number. Okay, so some questions are going to be x equals 1 or x equals 1. It's the same answer. So you can say 1 is a repeated root. Okay, in this example up here, these are just plain roots. Okay, and again, just knowing this vocab, knowing all these terms and stuff will help you a lot as you get into more difficult and more difficult math in the future, right? So let's go ahead. Again, we just talked about zero product property, okay? If you end up multiplying two things and they equal 0, one of the two things is 0, okay? So that's kind of what we use to solve these polynomials, okay? So let's see, which one should I use? Let's start with kind of an easier one. Let's start with number 2. Okay, these are kind of set up. This first section that we're doing where we're actually solving these polynomial equations, they're kind of already set up nicely for us. They're already in factored form. It didn't give us a squared minus 12a equals 0, that would be a little bit trickier to solve. You'd have to factor it out. It's giving us it already in factored form, okay? So the key to what we're doing here is we're saying, okay, I'm multiplying two things together, right? I've got a, helps if I draw. I've got a and I've got a minus 12. I'm multiplying those two things together and I end up with 0. So think about what I said before. If you have x times y and they equal 0, well, either x is 0 or y is 0, right? So we're doing the exact same thing here, just with a little bit trickier math. You're saying I'm multiplying together a and a minus 12. So I know, okay, well, this either has to be 0 or this a minus 12 has to be 0. So you're going to break apart each little piece that's being multiplied together, and you're going to set each one of them equal to 0. All right? So this piece, this a is equal to 0, and the a minus 12 is equal to 0. Okay, this one there's nothing else to solve. It's just already done, a equals 0. Here, easy little one-step equation. It's always just going to be maybe a 1 or 2-step equation. They're usually pretty simple. Add 12 to both sides. I get a equal to 12. Okay, those are my two solutions. A equal to 0 or a is equal to 12. Right? So this is the whole thing of solving these kind of complex polynomial equations. The actual math you had to do, okay, add 12 to each side, the math is pretty simple. It's understanding the process here, okay? How do you look at something like this and solve it out? You have to know what it is, it means to use that zero product property, okay? Let's do this one. It's got a little bit trickier math, but it's the same exact idea. I've got 2b minus 6. And I've got 3b plus 18. I multiply it all together and I get 0. It's really the same process for all of these. You're saying, okay, I'm multiplying these two things together and I end up with 0. Well, that tells me that each one of these is going to be equal to 0. I'm going to have 2b minus 6 equal to 0. And I'm going to have 3b plus 18 equal to 0. Okay, little two-step equation. I'm going to add 6. Okay, so I get 2b equal to 6. Divide out that 2. And I get b equal to 3. Okay, same thing. Adding 18, so I'm going to subtract 18. Okay, 3b equal to negative 18. And divide out my 3. I get b is equal to negative 6. I get 2 answers. And you're usually going to have basically as many answers as you do factors because you're setting each one of those factors, each one of those pieces equal to 0. All right, let's do one. I want to do 2 more. I'm just going to give you guys a ton of examples and then sneak preview for tomorrow. We're going to actually have to factor before we can do this step. Okay? So let's look over here at, let's start with number 7. I'm going to do a repeated root one. All right? So x minus 3 squared equal to 0. Let's think of this like we did yesterday with 7.3. We see that x minus 3 squared. First off, don't do the thing people like to do where they just square each one and say, oh, that's x squared minus 3 squared. That's not what it's saying. It's saying take that whole thing, that x minus 3, multiply it together. Okay? I'm doing x minus 3 times x minus 3. That's what that means. Equal to 0. Well, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to set each piece, x minus 3, equal to 0. Okay, x minus 3 equal to 0. Okay, these are the things I'm multiplying together, so I know one or both of them has to be 0. Okay, so easy enough. Add the 3. I get x is equal to 3. And again, x is equal to 3. When I get that same number, I know this is a repeated, if I can remember how to spell, repeated root. Okay. Alrighty, so let's do one more. I don't want to deal with that fraction one, so I'm going to look at number 11. I've got lots of different factors here. We've got 3 different answers I think we're going to have in number 11. Right? I've got the g times 6 minus 3g times 6 plus 3g all equal to 0. All right, so this is the first one we've done that's had 3 different factors, but the idea is really the same. Okay, I'm multiplying these 2 together. I'm multiplying by the g as well, right? So each one of those chunks, each thing I'm multiplying has to be set equal to 0. Sometimes people will forget if there's just a variable on the outside. Okay, g has to be set equal to 0. 6 minus 3g also equal to 0. And 6 plus 3g also equal to 0. Okay, I'm going to have 3 answers for this one. Okay, so g equal to 0, that's already done. I want to get rid of that 6. I don't know why I tried to add. I'm going to subtract because it's positive 6. Okay, so negative 3g equal to negative 6. And divide out the negative 3. I'm going to get g equal to, that's negative and a negative, so positive 2. Alrighty, and then one last one, I'm going to subtract here again and get 3g equal to negative 6. And then divide, and I'm going to get g equal to negative 2. Okay, I've got 3 roots here, 3 solutions. It can be 0, 2, or negative 2. All of those would make that equation equal to 0. All right, again, tomorrow we're going to get into some more factoring, but you can go ahead and get started on the day 1 assignment, and I'll see you guys later.